YouTube, and we'll just wait for the intro to come in, and then we'll get started. But how many of you out there now have gotten your first stimulus check? How many of you out there are wondering about your second stimulus check? If there is one, or when there will be one. Were you eligible? Are you eligible? That's a good question to find out, isn't it? Let's see here. What is that buzzing sound? We're going to go ahead. Electronics is a funny thing. Just when you need it. How about that? Minus 45 pounds. The other thing, we're going to talk about next week, the age of the influencer and how that's changing politics, economies, and could play a big factor in your future as well. So that's going to be a cool theme that we've got. We've been discussing that and the importance of that going on in the real estate show. Anyway, the intro is coming in. See if you can hear it.
For effectively utilizing real estate, mortgages, and related financial products to achieve a more secure financial.
So since today we won't be having any guests. Last week we had a guest almost every single day of our 5-day broadcast. This week we only 2 days out of the week we'll have guests. All right, here we go. And hello, South Florida. Welcome to today's edition of the Real Estate Show. South Florida's #1 program about real estate and America's longest running daily radio show. My name is Eric Willner. I am your host. I am your host who has been your host for the last 21 years through the life of this real estate show. And we are live Monday through Friday. That's 5 days a week. 5 days a week where we transmit from 8 until 8:30. Now that's just enough time. Many times you see, actually we run out of time, but that's what we got. We've got 30 minutes here each evening, Monday through Friday. And what we're looking to do is to bring you all of the information that a good real estate owner would need. You know, our mission here on the Real Estate Show, as it has been for the 21 years, is to help and enable more real estate owners and to empower real estate owners to get the maximum return on their real estate. Real estate can change lives. It's a stone cold fact that real estate is one of the best investment vehicles out there. It is the ideal investment, if you've heard me with my my acronym using the word ideal for the income, the depreciation, equity buildup, appreciation, and leverage, just to name some of the benefits of real estate. And for those of you who are regular listeners, you know that we start out the week on Mondays with our agenda for the week. It's sort of a process that we have evolved into. And now we started out by talking about that this week was going to be Discovery Monday. We were going to talk about where you are on the real estate ladder. We've gone through what the ladder is. So you can go back, by the way, to any one of our shows. All of our shows are recorded. They are broadcast, they're held in the archives. All you have to do is either go to the top of the page here if you're a Facebook Live listener, and you will, I'm sorry, actually for the Facebook, you got to go down. You have to go down and go back in chronological order. It's kind of like a long blog of videos and posts. So on Facebook Live, you got to go down backwards in time to go listen to the past shows that you may have missed. If you're on our website, where you can also listen to the radio show, in addition to the AM station, in addition to the 3 FM stations, you can listen to us on our website at automaticlandlord.com. That's automaticlandlord.com. and you can just listen to the live version at the top of the page there on the website. And you can also download the prior shows. They're there under the Real Estate Show tab. Look at our, I forget what it's called, if it's the Real Estate blog or the radio show notes is what it is. And embedded in each one of the daily notes is the link to either download the podcast version or for you to be able to go back in time and or you can actually listen to them right there on the website itself. Once again, that's automaticlandlord.com. We've seen a lot of traffic on that website there, so that seems to be one of the favorite ways to listen to the show. But don't forget, you can also take us with you if you have one of the free radio apps like the TuneIn app, like the iHeartRadio app, just to name two. These are free apps. You put them onto your iPad, your iPhone, your Android phone, anywhere, any of your portable devices, you can download it. Go onto those apps and just search for WWNN Money Talk Radio. That's WWNN 1470 Money Talk Radio, and you can listen to that to our show anywhere, literally anywhere you are in the world, as long as you have cellular signal at that point and are able to access the internet. So here we are. Monday was our discovery day. We were talking about where you are in the ladder. You know, we try to expose you to the opportunity that real estate is in the fashion that it is, and then set up the week. Tuesday, we had the Foreclosure Man. AskTheForeclosureMan.com. And that's a key place for you to go. If you know someone that is contemplating foreclosure, if they're in forbearance, make sure that they know all of their rights and go to AskTheForeclosureMan.com there for great information. And of course, tune in on Tuesdays for that show where we'll talk about the ins and outs of the world of mortgages from a borrower's side, Then here we are today, the midweek report, and man, do I have a busy agenda. I'm going to give you, in fact, just a couple of the highlights of what we're going to talk about. Number one, as I promised, I'm going to talk about the stimulus check updates. Where's your stimulus check? Is it any closer right now? Remember, Congress failed us when they went on break. They took their summer break, salaries, benefits, special pensions, and special health insurance and all, and literally left the Americans holding the bag. Even so much as to say that they were going to contest the executive orders that was actually instituting and extending the unemployment benefits for those that are in need, and extending some of the deadlines for the evictions. We're going to talk about that. The foreclosure moratorium, we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about, this is kind of interesting, in spite of high unemployment, the crazy pandemic, we've got a rip-roaring inventory short real estate market. And I got a report here that I want to share with you called Single Family Home Prices Rose in 96% of metro areas during the second quarter, which of course was the quarter when the pandemic hit. Remember, the pandemic hit in March. So April, May, and June, all 3 months are pandemic months. So we're in that, we got March, April, May, June, July. So we've got 5 months under our belts in the pandemic. August, here we are, we're halfway through. So we got 5.5 months into the pandemic, and yet the real estate market is up 96% of the metropolitan areas. I will talk about that in today's program. The market coverage, weekly mortgage refinances, however, this was interesting. And this here, now you got to start watching for the little signals that we're going to see, because I do predict that there will be a weakening in the market. No big mystery there. Remember, we've got 20+ million unemployed people. Restaurants only allowed to operate at half capacity, if they can make it that way at all. We got retail stores closed. We got movie theaters closed. We've got a number of businesses that still haven't been able to open up. And it's no wonder that we have, a large unemployment. Do you remember when I was talking about the 4 big delusions that our Americans were going to have when the pandemic first started? I started talking about this back in March. Everything's starting from like, this ain't going to last very long. Here we are now, 4 or 5.5 months, and we are not even near the end of it. We're still having flare-ups here. It's kind of like a game of whack-a-mole, where people are, going, this state is now the hot spot. No, that state is now the hot spot. Oh, look up there. Now that we're getting a flare-up over there. And schools are opening up. Some people are now finding out prematurely. Schools that did open up already have also closed already. I just heard today, Martin County here in Florida opened, closed again with a large number. So this whole concept of the kids don't carry it, the kids don't spread it, the kids don't get it, not proving to be true there. So that's very unfortunate. I think, do we need to open them up? Absolutely. Do we need to open them up today? Let's do it the right way. Make sure that we do it correctly so that the kids can go back safely, the disease doesn't spread widely, and that parents are also kept in mind, because, there's the issue of, can they go to work? Can't they go to work? You can't go to work if half your kids are in school and half your kids are on an off day, and the days for your different age kids don't mesh. It's not as simple a puzzle as one might have thought it to be. And that's why it's better to start a little bit slower and sort of have a long takeoff than it is to jump out in the middle of everything haphazardly. Another conversation. Housing starts. Now, that's another interesting one. Housing starts posted a super strong gain in July. Remember, I told you about builder confidence way back when? Remember, builders also have a long stretch. They got to, do the designs, then they got to go to the cities, get approvals, then they got to do the architecturals, do the groundwork. For a builder, people don't think about all of the work that happens before there's ever a piece of wood or concrete laid on the property itself. So builders have to really know that they're going into a good economy. But what we're seeing is the confidence remains very high. And we're going to talk about that also in our show today. And now, remember, I'm telling you about some of the early signs to watch for: mortgages, mortgage rates, and this one here, housing affordability. Now, I think of all the charts that I'm going to post on our blog tonight, this is the one that I think I want to put out there for you to see. Number one is the housing affordability slipped in June as median family income falls. You see, we're only starting to see a lot of these averages come together. It takes a while for them to accumulate all this stuff in all the different places. Then they have to crunch the numbers, put them into report form, and then that's when they release it, which is why we're still hearing numbers that are just released for, there's about a 30 to 45 day lag in some of these statistics. But at the national level, okay, the local numbers could have been out already, but at the national level, when you look at the big picture now, affordability showed signs of improvement in June 2020 compared to a year ago. However, so interesting, watch this. Better than it was a year ago, meaning the economy still has this forward momentum, but it's only going to be a matter of time. So, all of the incentives and the stimulus expired what's today? Today's the 19th. It expired 20 days ago. And so the states have individually extended some of the moratoriums on evictions and on foreclosures. Now, today, I was speaking with a foreclosure attorney, and in Florida, for example, I should say, at least in Broward County and in Palm Beach County, evictions are a go. That means that the courts are now hearing the evictions for those people not paid. So stay tuned for that, because I'm definitely going to watch that very closely, because that's going to have certainly an effect. Right now, hey, if we can get the bad tenants that don't pay because they won't out, help the tenants that can't pay all of that what they can because they can't, and help those, That's the solution, because I'm no more in favor of throwing somebody out who's down on their luck. But I am watching and seeing that some of these people with a quote unquote cancel culture that just think that rent, a roof over their head should be a divine right without having to work, especially if you're healthy, able, and just unwilling. We have to fix that problem for sure. So that's just a smattering of the headlines that I've got for you, the information that I want to share with you. We got a ton of information. Today is an information only type of a show, no guests. But I will tell you that, remember, I said this a long time ago. This is not a prediction, but this is good advice. The best time to get your find out about credit and to improve your credit is when you don't need it, right? It's before you need it. And there's going to be opportunities where you're going to want to use credit. There's going to be opportunities where you may want to fix and get back into a mortgage payment plan. And having bad credit is not going to help your case. And that's why check out timetofixmycredit.com. That's timetofixmycredit.com, one of the sponsors of our radio show, and just an invaluable resource. I highly recommend them. I use them myself, and they're a great service. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break here. A few words from our sponsors. Don't touch that dial. You're listening to The Real Estate Show. My name is Eric Willner, and we'll be right back. Meanwhile, I will say hi to all of our listeners and spectators, both on YouTube and on Facebook. Thanks for listening. Appreciate you guys taking the time out to listen and learn. I can't see any of the names on the YouTube stream. They don't show it to me the way that they do on Facebook. So if you want to say hi on YouTube, be my guest. John Boca Raton, loyal listener, thank you. Love seeing you pop up in there. Hello back at you. Michael from the Bay Area watching, and you and I have an appointment later on tonight, so I'm looking forward to our conversation. The four of us will all get on a call later on tonight. And by the way, I saw your video. I thought that was kind of cool and fun with the big smiley mask that you sent out. And Tim, how are you out? Tim Gregory is there. Let me see if I go down the list a little bit more. Of course, always Erica. And let's see, Mary Jo. Appreciate the likes, the thumbs up. Those are always encouraging. You're so used to always looking at an audience when you speak in a live audience that to see any kind of feedback is always good. Thumbs up on YouTube, thank you. And so very interesting that even though the moratorium, now statewide for the state of Florida, there is a moratorium on foreclosures, but what people might have missed is that they did not extend the moratorium on evictions. And even on foreclosures, remember that the moratorium was for federally backed mortgages. And that's why private mortgages, they have been proceeding as scheduled. And the more equity that there was, the more likely and the speedier the lenders are going to be. Now, there's no bad guy in that story, because remember, there was a contract between two parties. One agreed to accept the money and make payments, and the other one expecting the payments. And when there's a breach in that contract, hopefully they'll work it out. And so the number one thing that I have seen, on the property management side of things, has been when there's a breakdown in communication. In other words, and typically it's the tenant who doesn't like what they hear, and they figure, you know what, I'm just not going to answer the phone. And then they get upset when they get served the 3 days notice. So I'm going to tell you that my one advice to tenants that are legitimately, and I've worked with some of my tenants who legitimately had a problem. We worked it out. They're still there. They're paying as we agreed on a new schedule and on a way that would be workable for both sides. And I've got one tenant that has just got a sour attitude, a nurse on top of everything else. Can you imagine? And so unfortunately, that's going to probably end up in an eviction process. It'll damage their credit. They'll end up owing money and never become a homeowner, which is a shame. But communication was what was the whole 9 yards. Anyway, we're coming back here, so and welcome back. For those of you just joining us, you are listening to The Real Estate Show, South Florida's #1 program about real estate, America's longest running daily radio show about real estate. And today, here we are with our midweek report. We laid out the foundation and the groundwork, the first half of the radio show, but I want to get really into, as I promised before the break, let's talk about stimulus check number 2, the status, the latest news, how much you could get, who's going to get it. And so here's the story. The bottom line is that the stimulus talks are stalled, right? We thought, and I was optimistic that they would get it done by August 7th, when when all of Washington, the Senate and the Congress, they were going to be released for their summer break. And so I figured that it would have been their own priority. Nancy Pelosi said that she was going to stay and keep everybody there until it got done. Sorry, folks, everybody went on vacation. And like I said, the day that the politicians come and say that we're going to be on the same retirement program, we're going to get on Social Security just like you guys, we're going to give up our government pension, and we're going to be like you. Social Security will get fixed fast. The day that we're on the same healthcare system as Washington, healthcare will be fixed and solved fast. So this is not a political statement for the left or for the right, for the red, for the blue. This is saying, hey, this is, you guys are elected by the people for the people, but the people aren't on the same programs as you. So back to our conversation about the stimulus check. The bottom line, they went home for summer vacation. And so as they sit there in their pools, shipping pina coladas or whatever they're doing, we have no direct payment scheduled. And they're talking about that the recess, which is until September, okay? The stimulus check 2 is in limbo, and the new direct payment is not on the schedule. It's not on the calendar right now. With that in mind, Congress and the White House have attempted to agree on a plan, but there hasn't been meaningful progress yet. I imagine from their little floaty in the pool, they are talking to each other, saying, can we get together on this or on that? But meanwhile, after all the stimulus expired on July 31st, President Trump signed a series of executive orders that include a $400 a week monthly aid to the unemployed Americans. That's to the unemployed Americans. And of course, if you qualify, remember, self-employed people kind of got left holding the bag on that one. But the status of the second wave of 1,200, which everybody agrees that that should go out, and why don't they just release that, make a little mini bill and send out that, just to keep everybody afloat economically instead of in their pools, and that way you can get a little bit of stimulus again into the economy. It's been shown in every sense that the stimulus money worked. It helped. And it really is one of the reasons why the economy is even as strong as it is today. The Senate is hoping to enact the stimulus package that includes a second round of $1,200 checks to families. Right now, it looks like the qualification will stay the same as the first stimulus check for those people making $75,000 or less, employed or unemployed. The stimulus check should come to those people. However, the monthly unemployment is really at odds. One side wants the 600 like it was, and the other side wants a bunch of different numbers have been proposed, just not the $600. Certainly, it's going to be less than the $600. The $400 that Trump approved is subject to the states kicking in 100 of it. So many states are only seeing 300 of that, and so that's again also in limbo for the time being. I'm going to jump ahead from the stimulus. Since we're in a limbo status there, I'm going to touch now on the single family home prices. The National Association of Realtors reported that the quarterly home prices increased again in the last quarter. And the prices continued to rise in 96 of the markets showing home price appreciation. Median home prices rose 4.2%, better than inflation, year over year to 291. We're bumping up on $300,000, which means median home price, just to clarify for everybody, means that half of the people bought a home for less than 300 and half the people paid more than 300. But the majority, if it was the bell curve, you would see that the top of the bell curve here would be the 300,000. Michael is saying, would you give a concession for long-term tenants who are financially strapped during this pandemic in order to keep them? And the answer is yes, back to what I was talking about. If they're good tenants, they're solid people, their attitudes are in the right place, that we're going to work it out together, and they stay in communication, and everybody plays honest, absolutely, I would do what I could to help a long-term tenant stay. 100%. I could go down the list of all the advantages why I would do that. On the other side, someone takes that attitude of, the rent is owed to me, and since the landlords don't have to pay mortgages right now, I'm not paying rent even though I could. That's not one that I agree with. Anyway, the music is coming in. So much more information that I wanted to share with you. I hit the highlights there. I'm glad that we got most of this. Watch out, mortgage rates are getting ready to go up. So if you have the opportunity to lock in those low mortgage rates, give us a call. The toll-free number to reach me is 888-595-7779. That's 888-595-7779. Or reach out to me on our website at automaticlandlord.com. That's automaticlandlord.com. Now for tomorrow, I got a great thing. We're going to talk about interest rate optimization, mortgage optimization with effective interest rates that I can change your rate without even refinancing. So stay tuned for tomorrow's show. That's it for today. This is Eric Willner signing off. Remember, drive safe, wash those hands, and God bless America. Thank you. There you go. All right. So thanks, Dan.
Financial needs. If you have any questions about today's program or to arrange a consultation, call toll free at 888-5.
So I'm going to power down on the YouTube side. Thank you guys for joining in. We'll be back again tomorrow, same place, same time. See you then. And to my